4D detectable with current instruments?
I believe there were some night vision goggles that were capable of seeing into the higher dimensions and even the spirit realms. And once this was discovered, that generation was quickly replaced.
Yes, they were confiscated at the border.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are asking for people that want to really, really get good footage of UFOs. I recommend true full spectrum video camera, HD, and make sure it's real full spectrum. Usually, like the ghost hunting supply type shops that sell the full spectrum video cameras online, they're a really good supply for place for those kind of things. They're better than night vision even when it comes to videotaping UFOs.
Once we transition to 4D in 2014, how easy for each family will it be to get a small spaceship for travel, and how long does it take for an average educated person to learn how to operate it?
Probably a couple of weeks in the simulator, and you'd be able to learn to operate it. As for how long it would take the average family to get it, well, once you've got somebody who's passed all the safety tests as a pilot, it should be fairly quick. I mean, with industrial replicators popping one out, it is a matter of seconds.
Yeah. I heard scout craft, upstairs in like the higher dimensions, it takes about, as far as I remember, it takes about 20 minutes to replicate a average scout craft that's 30 to 35 feet in diameter. And we can make what we consider our capital sized ships in a matter of 4 hours, and those are pretty big, and it takes about a month and can be done in as little as 3 weeks, but 3 weeks to a month on average to make what we consider as a biosphere.
Depending on your equipment, some equipment can do it faster, but if you're using the lower priority shipyard, then it's speeds like that.
Right. I think the fastest we've made a biosphere was in like a week.
Yeah. There was the shipyards on the Silver Legion biospheres. They take about 4 hours to make a capital class ship, but the shipyards at Tau Ceti can do it in an hour.
Yeah.
The bonus is that the shipyards on the Silver Legion biosphere can basically be done in situ, and the crew's already there, so it can hop into action the second it's produced. You can do small ship travel within system. If you're going between stars, you're going to want a bigger ship, preferably one with shields and or guns.
Yeah, that's why there'll be the interstellar tourist groups introduced for those that want to travel in interstellar, because the ships will be designed for the purpose of traveling between stars and be properly armed and shielded for defense purposes. But with scout craft, they generally just go from planet to ship or around the planet, and that's about what scout craft are used for. For those that are curious. And then there's shuttles and what they call runabouts that run from inner system from one planet to the next to the next to the next.
Are they the trade ships?
Yeah, and there's even for cruise ships where half the fun is the journey, so they take less time. They're not attempting to get there as fast as possible. Instead, they're attempting to get there as fun as possible. I've had questions of people who are asking, what will Contact look like? Right now, we're heavily revising whether or not we want to be a part of anything that involves removing 3D people from this planet and taking them to another planet. So we're not too sure what we're going to do on that part, at least as far as the Silver Legion and the Galactic Federation of Planets is concerned. As it pertains to contact and letting you know that we're here, we do have a number of things that we have planned. We're going to probably start with trying to make our ships a little more visible in the skies. So, keep your eyes peeled, look up. You see more than chemtrails when you watch the sky. The other thing that we want to do is we definitely want to include face-to-face meetings on the ground. Some people may receive knocks on the door from their own relatives and friends asking if they can come have a chat. I want to make it very clear to people that if somebody's asking to remove you from the planet, you go with your gut instinct. Don't get so excited by the idea of a ride on a spacecraft that you just say, oh, golly gee, I'll go, and, let your discernment have a rest. Never let your discernment have a rest. If someone shows up, make sure you follow your gut. Make sure you don't go with anyone who does not feel like family or who you don't recognize. Some of you guys are already in contact with your family up there. Develop safe words and passwords with them in order to make sure that there's no imposters or nobody trying to pull a fast one on you. When it comes to public contact, honestly, public contact is going to wait. We're emphasizing face-to-face personal contact over public contact. Why? Because it's a hell of a lot harder to rationalize that away. People are very, very good at rationalizing away everything they see. If it's on TV, then it can be rationalized away as an advertisement or clever publicity stunt. If it's in the newspapers or on the internet, same thing. You can't rationalize away when people land in your yard and say hi to you. It's very, very difficult to do so, especially when you automatically recognize them and understand that they're your relatives. So that's why we're focusing on face-to-face things. It's also a heck of a lot harder to stop that kind of contact methodology or paint it as a hostile invasion or do other forms of information sabotage to it. As for when this is going to happen, again, I hate to use that dreaded word soon, but we're looking at starting that phase as soon as it's possible. And we're hoping that will be sooner rather than later. You're not limited to just one chance. If it's a true, if it's really your friends, they'll understand if you say no. And you're not going to give up your chances altogether if you do say no, because we understand safety and security, and we understand that these are paramount. The safety and the security of the people on this planet is paramount. It's always better to err on the side of caution.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even in the past, I've had physical contact experience with my brother and some of my crewmates, and it's like, the only way I can explain it is like you just know. It's like seeing when you're in your 30s and you see that grandparent or that aunt you haven't seen since you were a baby, but just something inside you recognize them. That's the feeling you want to look for, not something of intimidation, not something of, oh my God, these are ET gods, I must go with them kind of thing. You want that recognition, that automatic, I know you.
And if they're legitimate, they'll respect your boundaries and your choices.
And they'll answer, even if you have 100 questions, they'll stand there and patiently answer them. Go with your heart, go with your instincts, go with your intuition. You guys need to move into a position of love and positivity and try to hold yourself there and help your family and your loved ones and your friends and those around you come from a position of love and from positivity, and even as much as where you're looking at something objectively from outside the situation, not being so emotionally involved in it, so that when you recognize the fear porn, you can kind of take that Zen approach to all this bombardment and stuff, and just like acknowledge it, release it, and let it go on. Don't let it, affect you in any way negatively, because it's something that's really, really important right now is that we bring in the light and we anchor it, and we bring in the positivity and we anchor it here on the surface.
Once we are in 4D, is it possible to build cities in the sky?
I don't understand what the qualitative difference is between a ship that stays in one spot and a city in the sky.
Yeah, me either.
This person had an experience several nights ago, was under psychic attack, and was in what appeared to be an underground garage where a multitude of creatures were chasing her, or him. I awoke with bruising and scratches all over my back, legs and arms, and haven't felt well since. How do we avoid involuntary astral projection?
I don't know how to avoid involuntary astral projection. What I know, most people who are aware of the phenomenon are trying to voluntarily do it. You don't hear too often about somebody who's trying to make it stop. I would say the best thing to do is learn how to take control of that dreamscape, learn how to lucid dream, and learn how to defend yourself. And that way you don't need to fear it. Fear is an attractant. It's kind of like pouring a little blood into a shark tank. If you maintain a mental space that is free of fear, you will attract much less trouble. And when you run into trouble, you will be able to handle it a lot better because you're not panicking. Don't think of yourself as powerless. In a dreamscape, you can give yourself whatever supernatural or crazy Superman abilities you want. If you want to be able to turn around and kick their butts in return, you can do that.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say, one thing I know about those little small miniature T-Rex looking things, in my experience, you turn around and just grab one of them by the neck and give it a good shake and then toss it against the wall. That'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Making a mental image of yourself as invincible. It really does help.
Yeah, they're a lot easier to deal with and a lot scarier looking than they really are. It's just a matter of you knowing and not being shaken from that knowing, but just knowing and having confidence that you can handle those, those little creatures like that. And I mean, think about it. Generally speaking, you're 2-3 times taller than those things, and you can even just grab one and start using it as a club against the rest. That usually creates quite an impression.
Yeah. Doing is feeding off your fears. As long as you're running and afraid, they're getting what they need. The moment you turn around and say, I'm not going to play this bull crap anymore, and well, game changes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I remember TANAATH telling me about one dream she had where...
Oh, yeah, I had somebody trying to send me hostile dreams, and they kept putting me in situations where I was getting shot at. Or, there was assassins coming, and finally I just, got fed up with it and started grabbing them and swinging them at each other, and I could feel it definitely gave them some pause.